Even Rome's greatest philosopher made mistakes in self-control. Have you ever wondered how Marcus Aurelius dealt with moments of anger, anxiety, or doubt while carrying the weight of an empire on his shoulders? Stoicism saved him, but not before he faced failures that could have changed Rome's destiny forever. When we think of Marcus Aurelius, we imagine a calm, wise, and unshakable leader. But the truth is, he was human, and like all of us, he wrestled with his emotions. During devastating wars, political crises, and personal betrayals, he faced moments of weakness that could have compromised his leadership. Surprisingly, it was these mistakes that made him an even more extraordinary leader, as he used Stoicism to correct them. How many times have you felt on the verge of losing control? Whether at work, in a personal conflict, or during moments of extreme pressure, self-control can feel like it's slipping away. Now imagine being in Marcus Aurelius's position, making decisions that impacted millions while battling his own emotional shortcomings. The difference? He had a philosophy that helped him turn weakness into strength, and his lessons still resonate today. But what were those 5 mistakes? How could they have destroyed the empire if left unchecked? And more importantly, what did Marcus Aurelius do to overcome them and become the ultimate example of emotional leadership? The answers lie in his Stoic reflections. And in today's video, we'll uncover how those failures shaped his enduring legacy. In today's video, you'll discover the 5 most challenging mistakes Marcus Aurelius faced and how he used Stoicism to overcome them. We'll explore the moments of greatest tension in his life and learn how his strategies can be applied to our daily lives, turning even the toughest situations into opportunities for growth. If you want to learn how to apply Marcus Aurelius's wisdom to improve your own life and face challenges with courage and clarity, subscribe to the channel and leave a like. Your support helps us share historical lessons that continue to transform lives today. The year was 170 AD, and Rome faced not only the devastating Antonine Plague, but also the constant threat of the Quadi tribes pressing the empire's borders. The weight of these crises fell squarely on Marcus Aurelius, who, despite his reputation for calm leadership, was human like the rest of us. One fateful day, surrounded by generals in a tense military council, Marcus found himself overwhelmed by their lack of action and the logistical failures that jeopardized his troops. He felt his anger boiling over, threatening to spill into harsh words or impulsive decisions. In that moment, the Philosopher Emperor confronted a stark truth. His emotions could undermine the very leadership he fought to uphold. Drawing on Stoic principles, Marcus stepped back mentally, reframing the situation through reason. Instead of lashing out, he redirected his frustration into a detailed plan to restructure his military operations. By addressing his team with clarity and composure, he not only salvaged the morale of his army, but also preserved his authority as a leader. But this episode left a lingering question in his mind. If his temper could nearly unravel his efforts on the battlefield, how would he respond when confronted with betrayal? Would his philosophy hold steady, or would revenge consume him? The betrayal by Avidius Cassius, a trusted general who declared himself emperor, was a crushing blow to Marcus Aurelius. The news reached him at a time when his reign was already fraught with challenges, and the initial wave of emotion, anger, shock, and a deep sense of personal betrayal was almost too much to bear. Many urged him to march against Cassius swiftly, to not only crush the rebellion, but also eliminate any who dared to question his authority. Marcus's initial instinct mirrored that of many others: vengeance. Yet he recognized that giving in to such impulses could spiral into unnecessary bloodshed and a fractured empire. His Stoic training urged him to pause, reflect, and separate the emotion of the moment from the decision at hand. Instead of responding with force, he crafted a message that focused on unity and the greater good of Rome. His measured response disarmed many of Cassius's supporters, weakening the rebellion without major conflict. Still, the temptation of revenge haunted him. What would happen the next time he faced an overwhelming crisis? One with no clear enemy, but an invisible and deadly force. one that even a philosopher could not outthink. As the Antonine Plague swept through Rome, Marcus Aurelius was plunged into an entirely different kind of war. The silent enemy killed soldiers, citizens, and even members of his inner circle, sparking fear and eroding confidence in his leadership. At night, in the solitude of his tent, he wrote of his mounting anxiety and the crushing burden of decisions that held lives in the balance. Marcus's reflections revealed a deeply human side of the Philosopher Emperor, someone who, despite his wisdom, grappled with uncertainty and the fear of failing his people. Yet his Stoic philosophy again became his anchor. By focusing on what was within his control, Marcus shifted his energy to solutions, bolstering medical research, organizing resources for the army, and addressing the people with honesty about the challenges ahead. But this period of intense pressure also strained his relationships, especially with those closest to him. How could a leader balance the needs of an empire with the conflicts brewing within his own family? Behind the palace walls, Marcus Aurelius faced battles of a different kind. His son Commodus, known for his reckless behavior, was becoming a source of growing concern. During a heated dinner conversation, Commodus revealed his ambitions, plans that Marcus knew could jeopardize the future of Rome. The father in him wanted to lash out, to force his son to see reason. But the emperor in him understood the need for restraint. This was one of Marcus's greatest challenges, managing personal relationships while maintaining the stability of the empire. Instead of responding with anger, he chose empathy and firmness, principles rooted in his Stoic practice. He approached Commodus not with condemnation, but with measured guidance, hoping to instill wisdom without alienating him. Though their relationship remained strained, Marcus's patience set an example of how even personal struggles must be met with clarity and composure. Yet, the strain of leading Rome, managing crises, and navigating personal loss began to take its toll. What happens when grief threatens to break even the strongest leader? The death of Faustina, Marcus Aurelius's beloved wife and confidant, marked one of the darkest periods of his life. Isolated in his grief, he questioned his ability to carry on. His writings from this time reveal a man deeply torn, longing to abandon the responsibilities of the throne, yet knowing that Rome still needed him. In his despair, Marcus turned to the Stoic concept of accepting mortality and finding purpose in service to others. Instead of retreating into his sorrow, he used it as a source of strength. His governance during this time was marked by increased compassion and dedication, a reflection of his resolve to honor Faustina's memory through his actions. Even as he persevered, Marcus was haunted by one final question. Could the lessons he learned sustain the empire after his time? Or would the seeds of future chaos already sown take root? How would the legacy of his self-control shape the generations to come? Marcus Aurelius fought to preserve Rome's stability, but even his wisdom couldn't prevent the cracks from forming. As he wondered whether his legacy would endure, another crisis was brewing, one that Rome had created for itself. What happened to the soldiers who bled for the empire when the wars ended? Promised land and fortune, many returned home only to face betrayal and abandonment. Some accepted their fate. Others turned their anger against Rome itself. Discover how these forgotten heroes became a threat to the very empire they once defended. Watch Abandoned Heroes, the forgotten fate of Roman veterans now